Hello and welcome everyone to the daily news analysis for 7th of March 2025. So guys, in today's news analysis, we are going to talk about the delimitation exercise and we are going to compare the GDP contribution of the southern states with that of the North Indian states, and we'll compare that with the seat share, the political representation and the economic contribution of the southern states. Is it in sync with each other? That is the point. Then this Vikatan case, why the freedom of speech and expression is not allowed fully on the internet space in India. Section 69A, a cartoon of Prime Minister Modi with that of Donald Trump was uploaded on the vikatan.com, the website. And Ministry of Information and Broadcasting directed the website owner to take down that cartoon, but they did not, and the ministry blocked the entire website. So is it justified? While the brethren article section 66A of Information and Technology Act has been deleted, has been struck down by the Supreme Court under the Shreya Singhal case 2013, but the smaller brother section 69A is still creating trouble for the netizens in India. We are going to talk about this in detail, and the appointment of the Calcutta High Court judge as the judge of the Supreme Court, the elevation here. Now here we are going to talk about whether the high courts are to be equally represented or there has to be some equality of representation of all the high courts in the Supreme Court of India. This is one of the issue here, right? So this is issue, you may not be aware of it, but all the high court judges, all the high courts are to be adequately represented at the Supreme Court level. Then what are the grounds on which the Supreme Court Collegium's proposal, the recommendation to appoint a particular judge to the Supreme Court can be rejected by the Government of India? What are the probable grounds? We are going to discuss this also. Then here, many of the Trump's proposals or the priorities work for India. De-dollarization. Then our Minister of External Affairs, while on a visit to London, his cavalcade of vehicles was, stormed by the pro-Khalistani activists. This is a small video I have done separately also, but we'll discuss that here also. Why UK is allowing the pro-Khalistani activists to wage a protest from their soil against the state of India under the right to self-determination, etc. Even as India and UK are elevating the ties, but why this pressure point of pro-Khalistani activism from the soil of UK is being allowed? Even as we are talking about free trade agreement, we are talking about what is going to happen in Ukraine, all these affairs are being decided. Yet at the same time, the secessionist movement, the separatist movement of Khalistan is allowed to continue from the soil of United Kingdoms. So let's get started. Now here, these are the news articles in the headline manner. You can quickly have a look at them so that we can begin. Let's get started, guys. So Unblock Vikatan website once it temporarily drops the PM's cartoon. So we are going to discuss about Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause A, freedom of speech and expression, which says that this freedom of speech and expression shall also be allowed on the internet space, right? So like you converse with people, you communicate ideas through the newspapers, in the physical format, in the face-to-face format, news broadcasting, etc. All these things are happening. Likewise, the freedom of speech is there on the internet space also. I have a freedom of speech and expression under which I can draw the cartoon of the Prime Minister, provided it is not affecting the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of state, then public morality. This reminds me of Ranveer Allahabadia though. So you're getting my point? These are the grounds. There are exceptions, 19 Clause 2, to the freedom of speech and expression. These are sovereignty and integrity, etc., as we just discussed. Now this cartoon that was uploaded, ministry said that this cartoon might affect the relationship of India with the United States of America, because Donald Trump's and Prime Minister Modi's cartoon has been uploaded, which does not show both of them in a very good picture, which does not show, it's a kind of embarrassing, right? So that is why the ministry said take it down. The website owner, Vikatan, did not. It's a matter of Chennai. So, landed up in Madras High Court. So, Madras High Court said that if the vikatan.com temporarily takes down the cartoon, please restore back their website. let the website to continue. But Vikkatan's lawyer is not happy with it. He says that the grounds mentioned for blockage of any content are given in 19 clause 2, as per which, as per this exceptions in 19 clause 2, section 69A of Information and Technology Act has been enacted. So 19 clause 2 exceptions apply to 69A of Information and Technology Act also. So here 8 grounds are given, namely sovereignty and integrity of India, security of state, friendly relations with the foreign states, public order, decency or morality, contempt of court, defamation, incitement to an offense. For example, if there is any content that affects the security of India or that affects the friendly relations of India with any foreign country, be it US, be it any other country, China also. Okay, on these grounds, the government of India can, or the government of any state also can request for the taking down of the content, be it a cartoon, be it a YouTube video, etc. Ranveer Allahabadia controversy. This section 69A entails a fine of 5 lakh rupees. Okay, same article was in, same section was in discussion. Now, the writer, the petitioner has said that section 69A, these identical reasons are mentioned for blocking the content, for taking down the content request. Ministry requested the website did not take it down, saying that it's a part of freedom of speech and expression, and this cartoon is not affecting the friendly relations between US and India. Government said that it affects the sovereignty of India. Writer said that this article says that the content request can be, the request for taking down the content can be placed only if it affects both the sovereignty and integrity of India, because in the article it is given together. So you cannot request for taking down the content only on one of the grounds. Since there are 2 grounds mentioned, it is and, so both these things have to be affected. Okay, so center cannot issue directions. The website owner says that the center cannot issue the directions because and is given. According to government, it is affecting the sovereignty of India, but it is not affecting the integrity of India. In Hindi, we call it as Akhandata Bharat ki. है ना? Separatism, nothing like separatism or separate states, etc. is being talked about. So why this content should be taken down? Okay, now the Madras High Court has said that if the website takes down the content, the alleged cartoon in controversy, restore their website. This is the issue. Okay, now we are more concerned about the overall issue that is going on. Talk about this India has got latent issue, then talk about this section 66A. In 2013 or 14, this question was asked, discuss the section 66A of IT Act with reference to its alleged violation of Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, the elder brother, section 66A has been struck down by the court, but the smaller brother, the younger brother, 69A, still remains on the statute book of Information and Technology Act 2000 and is having a chilling effect on the freedom of speech on internet in India. Right, I have posted a question on Telegram with regard to the same issue. You know the contours. Here, the writer has made a very important point that it would not be sufficient to block the access to the website merely because sovereignty had been affected. It was also necessary that integrity of the country also should be compromised by any piece of information for that piece of information to be taken down. Merely detaching the words and saying that sovereignty is getting affected, government cannot request for the deletion of the content. Clear? So this is a small issue. Now, moving further, Supreme Court Collegium names Calcutta High Court judge for elevation to the top court. So, Calcutta High Court judge, Justice Joymalya Bagchi, will be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court. He will continue till 2031. A very long tenure considering the past. Okay, now very important point I want to tell you, is it necessary that all the high courts in the country should be represented proportionately, adequately? Yes. Okay, so since Calcutta High Court has got only one judge as of now in the Supreme Court, okay, Calcutta is not adequately represented. That became one of the grounds for elevation of the Honorable Judge of the High Court of Calcutta to be elevated to the Supreme Court. Okay, so you should keep this in mind. Now, what can be the grounds on the basis of which the name of a judge could be rejected? So, Collegium, let me add another slide here. Okay, so Collegium does what? Collegium recommends the name of the judges. Okay, so Collegium headed by the CJI and 4 senior most judges, they recommend the name to the government, Ministry of Law and Justice, MOLJ. Further onwards, the ministry recommends the name. Okay, it is sent to PMO, or you can say the cabinet. Cabinet approves it and sends it to the president as per the requirement of Article 124 Clause 2. Okay, so appointment of all the judges have to be done by the President of India in consultation with the CJI or such number of judges as the President of India may deem fit. Okay, so President of India, ultimate call is taken by the Government of India, because Article 74, President has to act according to the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. But before finally approving the name, a report of Intelligence Bureau is sought. Okay, IB clearance is required, that the judge is not controversial, that the judge is not highly corrupt. We are not saying corrupt. Okay, so understand what I am saying. Intelligence Bureau. Second thing is adequate representation of all the judges. These are mere grounds. Okay, adequate representation of all the high courts is another informal criteria on the basis of which the Government of India has rejected the names recommended by the Collegium. Okay, so if the name suggested by the Collegium is rejected by the Council of Ministers, is rejected by the President, what to do? Name comes back. If the Collegium insists on the same name again, if the Collegium says that the grounds on the basis of which Intelligence Bureau has rejected the name or the government has rejected the name are ill-founded, if the Collegium says that this is a flimsy ground, a weak ground to reject the name of an otherwise competent judge, then what will happen? Then the Collegium will insist upon the same advice again, and it will be binding upon the government to approve the name. Okay, to appoint the same judge. This is after the 1998 third judge's case. Okay, this is the position after third judge's case. So that is why the Government of India is not happy with it, because judiciary has the ultimate call. Judiciary takes the ultimate shot insofar as the appointment of judges of the High Court and Supreme Court is concerned. Even if the name is rejected by the President, then also the CJI can insist upon the same name to be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court or High Court, as the case may be. So see here, the Article 124 has been so interpreted under the rubric of separation of powers or under the impartiality or independence of judges as propounded in the Keshwananda Bharati case, that literal meaning has been twisted upside down. Every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President by a warrant under his hand and seal, after consultation with such judges of the Supreme Court and of the High Courts in states as the President may think necessary. Here it is given President's call will be there, but ultimately the call is taken by the judiciary under the garb of the independence of judiciary, right? So this is the problem. Now moving further to the next topic, this is going to be our third topic for the day. This is an editorial from the Hindu newspaper. On an average, every day we are incorporating at least one or two editorials in the news analysis. Tyranny of numbers, federal principles, democratic impulses are in conflict over delimitation. So what is happening is, you all know the articles, Article 82, Article 170 requires the periodic revision of seats in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which hasn't happened since 1971 effectively, I would say. Even though 2002 it had happened, but that was intra-state only, right? Now talking about this, I have inserted some interesting snapshots here. through which you will understand how the states are represented, how the southern states are politically represented versus how much economic share are they contributing in the GDP of India. Though this is not a threshold or benchmark with which or to which we should adhere to while distributing the seats in Lok Sabha. Economic share of the states of southern India should not be a deciding criteria, should not be a criteria to be considered. Nonetheless, for the purpose of analysis, you see here, there can be another comparison also. Contribution of the southern states to the population control in India since 1971 versus their representation in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so here states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, 8.9% of GDP. Uttar Pradesh, 8.4% of GDP. So Tamil Nadu, with 1/4 of the population of UP, is contributing more than UP, is contributing more or less the same, we can say, 8%, 8%, 8.5, 8.5%, both the states are contributing. Despite that, the share of seats of Tamil Nadu is 39 and the share of seats of Uttar Pradesh is 82, 81 in the Lok Sabha. See the difference, double the difference, even though the economic contribution is more or less the same. Then Karnataka, again 8.2%. Gujarat, the Western India, 8.1%. Maharashtra being the commercial, Mumbai being the commercial capital of India, located in Maharashtra, Maharashtra contributes 13%. So seats are not distributed in proportion to the economic criteria. Why the population, why the distribution of seats matter? Because the voice of the southern states would be numbed in the Lok Sabha if the seats are revised as per the new criteria, which says that if the seats are revised, then as per 2026, 2021 census or 2011 census, so what will happen is UP and Bihar will get combined 222 seats in Lok Sabha, whereas southern states combined will get just 165 seats. You are able to see the numbers on your screen, right? Other states, Punjab, Haryana, etc., Odisha, they will get 461 seats in the Lok Sabha. So this is the problem that South Indian states have. UP will see an increase of up to 140 seats. From 81 to 140 seats in Lok Sabha from UP. So UP, that is why, has got the largest number of, highest ever number of the prime ministers from any state, any single state, right? Then we talk about the division of UP itself because of the administrative problem, huge population, etc. That is a separate issue. So we have to look at it in the form of population control only. Then Rajasthan might get 50 seats if the number of seats are revised as per 2011 census. This is where Tamil Nadu gets just 10 additional seats, 39. From 39 to it will become 49 only. That is why the southern states have got a problem, that they contributed maximum towards the population increase, but this is not reflecting in the revised representation in the Lok Sabha. Now what this article says is, 2 days back there occurred a meeting of all the chief ministers of the South Indian states, where M.K. Stalin, the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, leading the meeting, he said that southern states are not against the delimitation per se, but they want the federal principles to be respected. Okay, so he said that the delimitation exercise could be extended to 2056, could be postponed till 2056 by an additional 30 years. Okay, when the delimitation is eventually taken up, writer says that after 2056, the problems of representation would have taken a gigantic proportion. Even grave problems would have occurred. Already, India is one of the least represented countries when we talk about political representation of the citizens in the Lok Sabha or other legislative bodies. Okay, so this is one of the problems. Now, last delimitation commission was set up in 2002. Which constitutional amendment act? Guys, we have been talking about this since quite a long time now. This is the third time we are discussing this issue in the class. So please answer, which delimitation commission, which constitutional amendment act postponed the revision of seats as per not 1991 census, but it postponed, it said that the delimitation will happen as per 2002 census. Which was the constitutional amendment act that talked about it? So you all know the answer, just try to recollect it. Now coming here, what are the other problems? On disproportionately high number of seats to northern India. Even if the North Indian states bring down the fertility rate till 2056, let's say in 30 years, even if they bring down the fertility rate, the number of children, the number of babies women in North Indian states give birth to, if it is replaced to 2.1, which is called as replacement rate. Replacement rate means by this replacement rate, women would be giving the birth to only that number of children, which only that number of babies who would have died because of aging. Replacement rate, number of aged people would keep on dying and newborns would keep on replacing the number of died people. That would lead to stability of population. So if even if that is achieved by 2056, as the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is saying that delimitation exercise should be postponed till 2056, then also the share of the southern states will not increase. North Indian states will get a higher share. So where does the solution lie? Right, solution could be in revising the seats right away, but the concerns of the southern states need to be addressed. So the problem of imbalance in constituencies. The writer mentions the data of two constituencies of Karnataka. First is Bangalore North, where 32 lakh people are being represented by just one member of parliament. And he talks about Udupi, Chikmagalur, where 16 lakh people. So you see the malapportionment. One MP is representing 32 lakh people in one constituency in the same state. And in the other corner of the state, one MP is representing 16 lakh people. Almost double. Okay. So that is the problem. That solution could be that within the state, intra-state revision of seats can happen. Intra-state revision of seats can be done without actually increasing the number of the seats in the Lok Sabha. So, imbalance in the number of electors across the constituencies varies in each state. Between 2004 and 2024, the country's electorate has grown by 45%. Do you require to memorize this data? Yes. The number of electors, the registered voters, thanks to the voter enrollment drives by Election Commission of India as well, okay, enlightening the voters, making them aware about their right to vote or reminding them of their duty. These are the reasons that number of voters has increased by 45%, but the seats have not increased commensurately. So by not revising the seats, by keeping them at 1971 level, we are in a way as a country denying the right of universal adult franchise to those who are born after 1971. Can we say this? Yes. Okay, so the right to universal adult franchise, right to vote is in a way effectively being denied to those. Why? Because the number of seats, our representatives have not increased commensurately with the increase in the number of registered voters. So that is the problem here. Now, the solution they say is allow delimitation within each state but not across the country. Okay, so this would be in keeping with the federal principles that all the states, maybe Punjab and Tamil Nadu and UP, may not be disproportionately represented positively or negatively. Okay, so there has to be parity. According to Article 82, the uniformity of representation between the states inter se and between the constituencies within the state has to be maintained. Okay, then Article 170 talks about such increase in the state legislative assemblies. So this is the problem. This would be in keeping with the federal principles but might be unfair to the large states that have seen a huge disproportionate population jump over last 50 years. Concerns are there is a risk of losing significant representation in Lok Sabha if the population strictly. Why only population should strictly govern this? Okay, I have a solution with whatever reading we have done so far. We have been reading the newspaper for 10-15 years now. See, why can't we at least increase the number of the MPs in Rajya Sabha not in proportion to the population? Why can't we give equal number of, let's say, 5 MPs in Rajya Sabha to every state? That can be one of the ways to equalize. That can be one of the equalizers. This debate aside, debate about Lok Sabha kept aside, we should also increase whenever this delimitation happens. Another way of putting it is, whenever the delimitation of Lok Sabha seat happens, okay, we should increase the seats in Rajya Sabha also, maintaining the parity as we see in the US Senate. 2 members each from all the 50 states of the US. In the Council of States, Rajya Sabha, we should have a parity. We should have a identicality in the number of representatives from every state. That can be the starting ground of this equalization. Okay, so this is here. But Rajya Sabha, being a secondary chamber, does not have much of a say on the issues like money bill, etc., deciding the government, etc. Okay, so this is there. Now, what is the problem is, you see, most of the prime ministers have been from North Indian states, or I would not be wrong when I say UP. Okay, so when the PMs or when the Amit Shah or the Home Minister or any political party focuses singularly, or you can say focuses only on UP and Bihar just to form the government, the concerns of southern states are sidelined. That is the concern that these southern states have. Okay. Yes, the all-party meeting of all the chief ministers of South India, they pointed out that Tamil Nadu is not opposed to delimitation per se, but that the process of delimitation should not penalize the progressive states. Progressive in terms of population control, progressive in terms of human development index, progressive in terms of economic contribution to the GDP. So this is the way they are saying. So build a consensus. This is how you are supposed to end your answer in the UPSC's scheme of things also, right? That how the answer can be concluded. You have to use this flowery language that we have to build a consensus, we need to form the unanimity, etc., etc. Okay, so need for flexibility in addressing the regional concerns. Last line, a transparent and inclusive approach can help restore the missing trust between the ruling political party at the center, BJP, and the southern states, the regional political parties ruling the southern states. Even though you see TDP, Telugu Desam Party, Andhra Pradesh, Pawan Kalyan and Chandrababu Naidu, they are contributing to the formation of government, National Democratic Alliance. So their financial concerns of Andhra Pradesh are at least taken care of. But since DMK, Tamil Nadu's political party, etc., is not contributing in any way in the formation of the government at the political level, at the union level, their concerns like Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister keeps on talking about Hindi language, etc. Okay, such threats to the integrity of India need to be addressed by addressing this balance in the distribution of seats. Now, moving to the next article, government launches AI Kosh. Kosh is like treasury. In English, we mean Kosh is like khazana, treasury. Okay, so AI Kosh, what is it? Where is it feeding into? Let's have a look at these 7 pillars of India's AI mission, Indian AI mission as we call it. India AI centers of excellence are to be set up. India data set platform. So the data sets that are in the possession of the government will be made available to the private players, startups who want to derive some large language model out of this data. So government is the biggest repository of data. We would not be wrong in saying that. Agreed? Since government has got a lot of data, by having this AI Kosh, government is going to release around 330 data sets, including that of census, including that of National Family Health Survey. Data in the possession of all the ministries would be made available, so that by applying some AI model onto that data, something like India's own AI modeling, like China has done, okay, so we can have our own AI modeling, large language models to be studied onto the government data, government provided data of census, etc. Okay, then these are the other pillars. One by one, government is addressing these pillars. 7 working groups have been formed for India's AI mission. This is the mission that we are going to talk about in the light of appearance of this article today, AI Kosh. Okay, so this feeds into GS mains paper 3. IT, information technology, etc. Okay, GS mains paper 3 you can write. Now, moving further, the Union government launched AI Treasury or AI Kosh, a platform with data sets that will assist in the development of artificial intelligence models and tools. Okay, At the launch, the platform contains 316 datasets, the bulk of these being programs to help in creating or validating the language translation tools for the Indian languages. Okay, so this is there. Then 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐄𝐿 is designed to provide startups and researchers with access to the datasets, enabling them to build AI technologies such as large language models and even more. So this is just the beginning. And for the processing of this data, 14,000 GPUs have been commissioned for shared access. This access to this computation power will be made available to these budding startups from Bengaluru, Hyderabad, etc., various parts of the country. Okay, buying a GPU unit for yourself is very difficult. Okay, so this computation power is required. Earlier, 10,000 such GPUs were announced, but now 14,000 GPUs have been commissioned for shared access. More GPUs will be added on a quarterly basis. This is what the government says. So we don't want to miss the bus of AI as we have been talking about it. Okay, this is an opportunity for India. Now, funding 10,370 crore rupees worth of funding has been allocated for this India's AI mission, having 7 pillars, as I said. Indian Data AI Platform is a key component of the Indian government's India AI mission. So we have talked about the components also. This was all in this small topic. Okay, data sets that have been released, the 316 data sets that have been released include translation data sets, Telangana's open data, health data, etc. 2011 census data, that how many females are there, how many females are illiterate up to 12th standard, graduation level, polytechnic level, etc., etc. Okay, then Indian satellite imagery. So for GPS mapping, etc., having our own Google Maps kind of a thing, and having the repository of coal mines of India, let's say aluminium, bauxite mines underneath Indian soil. So this India's satellite imagery will help some startup which wants to develop a large language model on the coal reserves, on the traffic movement, or let's say some startup in the parking arena, in the arena of traffic parking, okay, car parking, wants to come up with the congestion areas. At what point of time, let's say in Karol Bagh, Delhi, there is a lot of traffic. So based upon this satellite imagery, a startup around the traffic solution, solving the India's traffic problem, can come up, can take advantage of this India's satellite imagery. So this is there. Meteorological data and pollution data. This can help some startup developing an AI model on insurance facility for agriculture. Meteorological data of last 100 years, let's say. So this data of rainfall, precipitation will tell the insurance company that when does El Nino, La Nina affect affect a particular area and how much of crop area is under threat. Based upon that, insurance premium for agriculture under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana can be arrived at. This will help in saving the insurance company from overcharging the premium to the customers, to the farmers. Likewise, the health data of Telangana can tell us about the morbidities. So if any startup is working on health sector, it can study that health data and study about how many people in Telangana are prone to diabetes or have diabetes. Based upon that, the insurance premium of health sector, the patients in Telangana could be decided. This is how advantageous AI can be, provided the large data sets are made available by the government. So this is there. Now, many of the Trump's priorities work for India. Honorable Minister of External Affairs on a visit to London at the Chatham House think tank, which is quite an old think tank of UK, like we have Niti Aayog. Okay, so there at Chatham House, he was delivering a speech. At that speech, a question was put to him that whether the arrival of Trump as the president now, is it going to be a threat to India's growth story? He said that no. Insofar as geopolitical order is concerned, let's look at what Trump has done. He said that Trump has talked about cutting the budget of EU or withdrawing from the EU membership, NATO membership, not contributing to NATO. But he said the contemporary organization quadrilateral, insofar as Quad is concerned, India and other Quad members are equally contributing to the defense expenditure and other expenditure in the upkeep and maintenance of quadrilateral equally. So that is not a concern. Then he was asked another question. He said that how is Trump's tariff war against BRICS going to be a threat to India? So he said that BRICS countries, even though it is a grouping, but India does not hold any common position in the BRICS to de-dollarize the world economy. We are not against dollar. Okay, so this is, he said that is why we don't think that Trump's arrival as the president in the second tenure to make America great again is not going to be a threat to India. One by one big shared enterprise between India and USA is the quadrilateral. Each quad member is paying its fair share, and so there were no spats, there were no disputes about the burden sharing, as is the case with the NATO forces. US contributes 2% of its GDP towards NATO. Likewise, every country contributes 2% of its respective GDP. Okay, 2% of its GDP every country shares. Since by virtue of the fact that USA's GDP is quite high versus other NATO members, so the upkeep and maintenance of NATO, the burden falls on more on the United States. That is why this is a concern. But insofar as quadrilateral, the India-centric, Indian Ocean-centric organization is concerned, burden is being equally shared by all the members of NATO. So that is not a concern. And let me tell you, Quad was an idea of Donald Trump only, way back in 2017, okay, in his first term. Now, financial burden sharing has become a central issue between US and several European countries in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, talking about India's position on dollar, India explicitly states that it has absolutely no interest in undermining the dollar at all. Trump took a dig at BRICS countries, saying that BRICS countries are ganging up to de-dollarize the world, to undermine the value of the dollar, to undermine the prestige of the dollar. That is not a concern. India stands by dollar and its contribution to the stability of the forex reserves of India. Okay, even though because of the dollar tantrums, because of the American president's speeches in the past, we have seen depreciation of the rupee without any tangible reasons. Agreed? Despite that, Prime Minister has to say in the public fora, in the public domain, that we are not against dollar, right? So why an country's currency, Indian rupee, should depreciate without any tangible reason, merely because a president has been using strong words and making strong pitches, right? So dollar is recognized as a source of international economic stability. India believes in this because we have to. Primary issue in India's region is the lack of availability of the dollar. Now, response to Trump's threat. Donald Trump's threat of 100% tariffs on BRICS countries for playing games with dollar is noted. India clarifies that there is no unified BRICS position against the dollar, or if it is there, primarily by China or Russia, BRICS member countries, India does not stand by it. India does not reinforce that thing. So that is what he said, that many of the Donald Trump's priorities, our external affairs minister is saying that, are in sync with India's priorities, right? India also does not want the rise of China, so does USA, but you never know Trump, right? Now, this was all in today's news analysis. How the afforestation technique works. From Mahakumbh, we have some lessons. You can read them in the PDF. PDF will be shared in a short while from now on the Telegram channel. The link of this Telegram channel is given in the description box. That was all for today's news analysis. Whatever little questions I have asked, please do answer those questions. Which Amendment Act talks about the delimitation exercise as per 2001 census? In 2002, that was carried out. Okay. So then what is the essence of Article 87? What is the essence of Article 170? Please write that. Then I told you about this appointment of judges to the Supreme Court. The representation of all the high courts should be taken into account. Okay, so this is one issue. Then under what article the judges of the High Court are appointed? Judges of the High Court appointment, which article deals with it? Okay, what is the process of removal of judges of the High Court? Can be another question. Is there a fixed term given to the CJI? Okay, so CJI is being the justice of the High Court is being, Supreme Court is being appointed. Is there any fixed term that is given to the Chief Justice once he takes over the office of Chief Justice of India? These are very small questions that I'm asking you. Please try to answer them. With this, we conclude the DNA of the day. Thank you guys. It was a pleasure teaching you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, the Saturday. Thank you.